Okay, so today we have 4 new vocabulary words. So they've already put pictures on these screens for you, so I'm going to kind of just walk through it and explain each one. Congruent. Congruent means the same thing. All right, we're not going to say congruent is the same thing as equal because they are two separate words. So here's why. If I pull up this one and bring it in front here. Okay, so we would say these two angles have the same measure, right? So we call them congruent. The reason we don't say these two angles are equal is because this one is angle A and this one is angle B. They're two different angles, so therefore they are congruent, not equal. So a lot of the times with shapes, we say congruent rather than equal for that very reasoning, just because they are two different shapes, yet they look exactly the same. This one right here shows us the congruent symbol. So that right there, the equal sign with the squiggly on top, that means congruent. So if you ever see me write that, because I'm lazy and I'm not going to write out the word congruent if I don't have to, I'll use that little symbol right there. Okay. Scaling. We're talking about triangles. Scaling means all the sides are different lengths. So if you look at all of these, every single side, if you took a ruler to them, they would all measure out to be separate lengths. Isosceles is whenever two sides are the same. So thankfully, geometry has come up with these things called tick marks. And this one, you can see the tick marks on there. That tells me that this side and this side are going to be equal to each other. So I don't actually have to get a ruler out and measure. I can just look at that and be like, oh, that's an isosceles because it only has two equal sides. Equilateral is a triangle where all three sides are equal. So you can see this one, all three sides of the triangle have the tick marks on them. So you can be sure that it's an equilateral triangle. Okay, so those are our vocab words. So go ahead in your notes, write 7.3 triangles, write down all of the vocab that we covered. I added some that we've already covered because we're going to talk about them today. So pause that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is every triangle has a first name and a last name. So what I mean by that is the first name, you always name a triangle by its angles. So if all three angles are acute, then it's acute triangle. If there is one obtuse angle, then it's an obtuse angle. If there's one right angle, then it's a right angle, right triangle. So that's its first name. You always name it by the angles. And then the last name is by the sides. So if it has no equal sides, it's scaling. If it has two equal sides, it's an isosceles. If all three sides are equal, then it's an equilateral. So let's say I had an acute equilateral triangle. That's what it would be, an obtuse scaling, a right isosceles. So you would pick one name from here and then pick one name from here to name the triangle. Okay, so I'm not going to do any examples of that because you've already done that. The next thing we need to know is the sum of the measure of the angles of any triangle is 180 degrees. Okay, that 180 is pretty important. So let's do a couple examples here. X 55, 61. I need to find this missing angle. So if I need to find a missing angle, I'm going to take the two angles that I do know and add them together. Gives me 116. And then if I know all three add together to be 180, I'm going to take 180 minus the two that I know. So I just combine those together. 180 minus 116 is 64. So you add what you know, and then take that total and subtract it from 180 every time. That's all you do. So if we look at this one, on this one we know that's 41, and then a lot of people say that's the only one that we know. If there is a box right there, you know that one is 90 degrees. So I actually do know two. 41 plus 90. It's me 131. Okay, so then I take 180 minus 131, and that gets me 49 degrees. Okay, last example here. We're going to throw some algebra in since that stuff is so easy. We got 3x, 2x, and x. We are going to solve for x. Okay, I know all three angles in a triangle add up to be 180. So I'm always going to set it equal to 180. And then I add my three angles together. I have 2x plus 3x plus x equals 180. I can combine all of these because they're like terms. So 2 plus 3 plus 1 gives me 6x. And then to solve for x here, I would just divide by 6. So x equals 30. And that's it.